Vasudeva Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Before reciting Srimad Bhagvatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the classes on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 14. And we read till text number 10 yesterday. We're discussing our Grace Narayani Mataji gave such a nice class about the different Varnashrama Dharma and what is the different duties and what is Ugra Karma. So the idea is simplicity centered around Krishna consciousness. Let's see the next verse, text number 11. Ashvaghante avasayibhi kaman samvibhajed yatha api ekam atmanudaram nridam svatvagraho yatah. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Dogs, fallen persons, and untouchables, including chandalas, dog eaters, should all be maintained with their proper necessities, which should be contributed by the householders. Even one's wife at home, with who is most intimately attached, should be offered for the reception of guests and people in general. Purport. Although in the modern society the dog is accepted as part of one's household paraphernalia, in the Vedic system of household life, the dog is untouchable. As mentioned here, a dog may be maintained with proper food, but it cannot be allowed to enter one's house, what to speak of the bedroom. Outcasts or untouchable chandalas should also be provided with the necessities of life. The word used in this connection is yatha, which means as much as deserved. The outcast should not be given money with which to indulge in more than they need, for otherwise they will misuse it. At the present moment, for example, low class men are generally paid quite amply, but instead of using their money to cultivate knowledge and advance in life, such low class men use their extra money for wine, drinking, and similar sinful activities. As mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 4.13, Chaturvarnya Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. There must be divisions of human society according to the work and qualities of men. Men with the lowest qualities cannot do any work that requires higher intelligence. However, although such a division of men must exist according to their quality and work, it is suggested herewith that everyone must have the necessities of life. The communists of the present day are in favor of supplying the necessities of life to everyone, but they consider only the human beings and not the lower animals. The Bhagavatam's principles are so broad, however, that it recommends that necessities of life be supplied to everyone, man or animal, regardless of good or bad qualities. The idea of giving even one's wife to the service of the public is that one's intimate relationship with his wife, or one's excessive attachment for his wife, by which one thinks his wife to be his better half or to be identical with him, must gradually be given up. As formerly suggested, the idea of ownership, even of one's family, must be abandoned. The dream of material life is the cause of bondage in the cycle of birth and death, and therefore one should give up this dream. Consequently, in the human form of life, one's attachment for his wife should be given up as suggested here in Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas. So we are reading this chapter entitled Ideal Family Life. We are at text number 11. So text number 11 is talking about the idea of that it's not just human beings have life, animals also have life. Even they may be in the lower species, so what? It is the duty of humans to not exploit them, but to rather provide them, the required thing. Now, the required thing, Prabhupada is saying, does not mean that we sleep with dog or eat with dog. In the Vedic culture, also they would take care of the dog, but from outside, because it's not very clean. Uh, or these days, some people may have dogs and cats, but they're kind towards them, but they kill other animals and eat them. So not a very healthy idea. So one should be kind to everyone in our own way. The kindness to a snake doesn't mean we embrace the snake or we go close to a tiger, but we have to do the needful. And also, Prabhupada, this verse is talking about that one should serve with one's family. Then one will feel that this wife or this husband, which Krishna has given me, is not for my own sense gratification. We as a team have to serve others. That's the idea here. Or these children are not just to serve me. We as a team have to serve others, other devotees, and the mission of Lord Chaitanya. And then that is the formula for for developing detachment. Because earlier, it is said that a grihastha should invite two devotees or two people every day at their home. Nowadays, inviting two people every month is difficult. Uh-huh. Very, very rarely it's done, and especially now with COVID, it becomes more challenging. Uh, but we must do our needful. And the idea will be, let's say, oh, the husband will think, no, 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 the wife is just supposed to serve me. But when the guests will come, then the husband will feel, okay, this family is not just there to serve me, they are there to serve others also in Krishna's devotees. So we invite Vaishnavas, we invite other people, share Krishna Prasad, share Krishna consciousness. So considering ourselves as a team and serving others. That's the best formula to be attached in a Krishna conscious way. That this is not my wife for my own sense enjoyment. This is, or she is, or he is Krishna's child, interested under my care, so I can, we as a team can do better service. And in that way, when the attachment is in the higher taste, Krishna consciousness, the lower attachment will naturally, eventually go away. Any other comments, questions on this text anyone has? Okay, so we'll move on to the next verse, text 12. Yes, Vamsudas Prabhu, want to read?
Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam everyone. Text 12. Chahyad yad arte swan pranan hanyatva pitraram gurum tasyam swatvam striyam jahyad yastena hi ajito jitam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. One so seriously considers one's wife to be his own that he sometimes kills himself for her or kills others, including even his parents or his spiritual master or teacher. Therefore, if one can give up his attachment to such a wife, he conquers the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is never conquered by anyone. Purport: every husband is too much attached to his wife. Therefore, to give up one's connection with his wife is extremely difficult. But if one can somehow or other give it up for the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then the Lord Himself, although not able to be conquered by anyone, comes very much under the control of the devotee. And if the Lord is pleased with a devotee, what is there that is unobtainable? Why should one not give up his affection for his wife and children and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Where is the loss of anything material? Householder life means attachment for one's wife, whereas sannyasa means detachment from one's wife and attachment to Krishna. Not pranam. So this verse is telling us about attachment. We know the different levels of bhakti. So first Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishta Ruchi, Nishta Ruchi Ashakti, and Bhava Prema. So the Ashakti, that is for attachment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So attachment usually we say is for material activities, but attachment when referring to Krishna consciousness or Krishna, attachment to Krishna is the best because it's a very, very high level of bhakti. So we are encouraged to be attached to Krishna and be detached to material activities. And Prabhupada says here that that grahasthas should slowly cultivate this detachment, at least internally, that we first and foremost our attachment is to Krishna, and as a duty we have to be attached to our family, take care of them, give them shelter. So one can be even a sannyasa while living in a grahastha life if one is attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One example we usually refer to is Bilwa Mangala Thakur, who was very attached to his wife. And there was a day when his father passed away. He did not care about that. And there was a big storm and he couldn't cross the river. And it was currents were very high, but still to cross the river and go to his wife, he jumped and he actually used a dead body flowing through the river to help him cross over. And then when his wife said, "Oh, you have so much attachment for me. If you had shown the same attachment for Krishna, you would have been such a great devotee." And that actually was a turning point in his life, and he became a great devotee of the Lord. And actually, the dead body was his own father's dead body. So here also it said that in the verse that a person who's too attached to materialism and the opposite sex or his wife is willing to even kill his own parents who had raised him. So that is how difficult this material world is, and this material ocean is. If we get entangled, it'll just take us down so bad. So our best hope is to get attached to Krishna so that we can not get entangled and we can go back home, back to God. Thank you, Prabhuji. Please, if you'd like to add or correct.
Thank you so much. So this artificial idea of possessiveness. Has anyone heard cases? Husband killing the wife, or husband killing the relatives, or wife killing the husband? These are not, there are so many cases like these. Or girlfriend killing the boyfriend, boyfriend killing the girlfriend, throwing acid, oh, you will not marry me, so I will ruin you. This is Ravana. That's what Ravana told Mother Sita. If you don't become my queen, I will kill you. What was the principle behind it? Selfish sense gratification, lust. When there is lust, then the idea is, how can I, you know, enjoy my own senses and exploit the other person. But Vedic culture is totally opposite. It doesn't mean to be not caring towards one's husband or wife. It means to care, keeping Krishna as the center. Lord Ram cared for Mother Sita. The idea was not to enjoy, the idea was to serve. How can I serve my wife? Because she is a child of God. How can I serve my husband? Because he is a child of God. If both husband and wife have that consciousness, that home is Vaikuntha. That home is not a material world. So, attachment on a spiritual level will take us back home, back to Godhead. Attachment on the sense gratification level will make us dogs and cats in the next life. So the choice is ours. One should not be artificially, have this, that wife is my servant and I'm the boss, or the wife should not think that, okay, I'm the controller and the husband is my puppet. Both combinations are wrong. But when the goal is to help each other as a team, half body, ardhangini, so to help each other, inspire each other, to be more Krishna conscious. And then when both come together in a Krishna conscious way, then the material attachment will slowly reduce and the spiritual attachment will grow. That's the idea. As His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj says, between the couple is the divine couple. Let me share. Recently, I started using these whiteboards to teach some students. So let me share here. So imagine there's a triangle, okay? Here's a triangle. And what's here? Here is Krishna, okay? And then the other place we have the husband, and then we have the wife, okay? So if husband and wife, if Krishna is not the center, if they're very far from Krishna, then they're very far from each other also. The relationship is not Krishna conscious. But when the same husband and wife, what happens? They move closer to Krishna. They move here, husband also and wife, not this way. The wife also moves. Yeah, generally wife is more Krishna consciousness, so somehow I draw it rightly. Because women are more simpler. Men are more too much busy in their logic, and women take it to the bhakti very nicely. So what happens? Now, in the new state, where is the husband? The husband is here. And where is the wife? The wife is also here. So what has happened now? Earlier, they were very far from Krishna. See the gap? And they were far from each other also. Their relationship was also not on the spiritual level. But now they are very close to Krishna by chanting, by sadhana bhakti, and they're also close to each other. Isn't that amazing? So between the couple is a divine couple. So I like this idea, which is only Japatika Maharaj shares this. So we should always keep Krishna as the focus, and then the whole family will be Krishna conscious. Any comments, questions, thoughts?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. And yeah, very nice analogy, Prabhuji. So coming closer to Krishna, will actually deepen our relationship with family members. Prabhuji, couple of small points. I mean, yeah, first point is like, yeah, you mentioned about, Ravana. So I was actually listening to one devotee, I think in Bhakti Sangha. So he was telling Ravana is a lot better than, the so-called people in the Kali Yuga, because Ravana did not force, her to marry, but in Kali Yuga, people force and, do all these things. Prabhuji, another question is like Bilvamangal Thakur. I'm not sure if it is Bilvamangal Thakur. So, yeah, a couple of things, Prabhuji. I thought, it was not his wife. He was trying to reach to another woman. And also, another question about Prabhuji. Is this the same Bilvamangal Thakur, Prabhuji, who tried to, prick his eyes? Prabhuji,
Yes. So his name was Silhana Mishra before, and this was attached to this prostitute Chintamani, who in turn guided him on a very, very rainy night. This person was trying to cross over the river. There was no boat, there was no boatman. He crossed using a log of, he thought is a log of wood. It's a long story, but that log was actually the dead body of his father. He left the cremation ceremony, then, took a rope to get to the second floor of the building, but that was not a rope, that was a snake. So basically, it shows that lust blinds one. There are four types of blind people. Nevam pashyati janmandha, kamandha eva na pashyati, arti dosham na pashyati, madonmatta na pashyati. Nevam pashyati janmandha, janm se andha, blind by birth. Kam andha, blinded by lust, Ravana, Vilamangal Thakur, these are classic examples. Blinded by lust, they could not see the right and wrong. They could not see the snake as the rope. They couldn't see the body of his own father and thought it's a log of wood. Then uh, blinded by pride and blinded by money. They don't see right and wrong because one is blind. So long story short, Silana Mishra then goes, and then exactly as Vansilas Prabhu said, if the same attachment you would develop towards Murari, towards Krishna, towards Keshava, then where you have been. Then he left for Vrindavan. On his journey, he again, uh, you know, went to this somehow, long story short, there was a Brahmana, and then he goes to that Brahmana and said, I want to be with your wife. And then there, he was inside thinking that I, just now I'm starting my journey towards Krishna, and still I have so much attachment. These eyes are a root cause. Of course, we don't have to imitate that. So they took the pins, the hair pins from that Mataji, and go plug, put in his eyes, and yeah, then he was blind from that point. But later he became a great devotee. Every saint had a past, every sinner has a future. So yes, in short, he is the same person who wrote wonderful bhajans later and became an extraordinary devotee.
thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think in YouTube also there is a very nice video. I'm not sure from RG Media, but it's a very nice. Kids liked it so much. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, there is a nice drama on this pastime. Any other comments, questions? Okay, let's read text 13. Babu ka name, Prabhu, you've got your new Bhagvatam. Let's read from your fresh set of Bhagvatam.
Yeah, Prabhuji. So, text 13, Prabhuji. Yeah. Through
Yes.
proper deliberation, one should give up attraction to his wife's body, because that body will ultimately be transformed into small insects, stool, or ashes. What is the value of this insignificant body? How much greater is Supreme Being, who is all pervading like the sky? Yeah, perfect. Here also the same point is stressed. One should give up attachment for his wife, or in other words, for sex life. If one is intelligent, he can think of his wife's body as nothing but a lump of matter that will ultimately be transformed into small insects, stool, or ashes. In different societies, there are different ways of dealing with the human body at the time of funeral ceremony. In some societies, the body is given to vultures to be eaten, and therefore the body ultimately turns to vulture stool. Sometimes the body is merely abandoned, and in the case of body is consumed by small insects. In some societies, the body is immediately burned after death, and thus it becomes ashes. In any case, one intelligently consider the constitution of the body and the soul beyond it. What is the value of body? Antavanta ime deha nitya shokata sarirana. The body may perish at any moment, but the soul is eternal. If one gives up attachment for the body and increases his attachment for the spirit soul, his life is successful. It is merely a matter of deliberation. So, my understanding, Prabhuji, it's uh, uh, once we have to give up the attachment for the body, and and at the end, body will become as ash, and whether it is a wife or any other relatives, we have to focus on soul, and we have to uh, focus on Krishna Bhakti. That is what I understood. Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. I'll just read the shloka as well for our purification. Krimivid bhasmanishtantam kvedam tucham kalevaram kvatadiyaratirbharya kvayam atmanabhasas chadihi. So thank you, Prabhu, for reading this nice verse. So an intelligent person should deliberate. What does deliberate mean? Anyone would like to elaborate on deliberate? What does deliberate mean? Let's understand this word deliberate. What does deliberate? Prabhupada is using this twice. Who would share just the meaning of the word deliberate?
Maybe
Prabhuji,
intentionally or with our own knowledge we are doing.
Okay.
It's
With our
जानबूझ
own
करके.
knowledge. जानबूझ करके
We know, but still we are doing it. We know it, but still we want to do it again and again, deliberately.
deliberately. In that case, yeah, that's a little different meaning. But in this case, it's more of to consciously think, to be introspective, to deliberate. Uh, Something done deliberately, that's a little different meaning, that you did this thing deliberately. But here the meaning is to be mindful, to be conscious, to to be aware of the real thing, to deliberate upon this fact through proper deliberation, one will understand, well, what am I really attached to? We have all heard the story of liquid beauty. The king got attached to a rich, wealthy merchant got attached to a beautiful girl. We all heard. Who has not heard this? Actually, all of your videos is of which I have like sold like 100 times. I mean, if one or two people don't turn on their videos, it's okay. But if out of 20, only 2 or 3 turn on video, sometimes it's a little hard to digest. But I would encourage everyone to please, I beg at your lotus feet, genuinely to keep your videos on uh, if you can. If you're really shy, or if you are like, I don't know why, what would be the reason to not turn on? So it will really, if we will be sincere ourselves in studying, and it will inspire others also to study better. So it's my humble request. It will help you, it will help others also. So please keep your videos on unless there is really an exception, and which I understand. So who all have heard the story of liquid beauty? Okay. Okay, so I'll quickly share that because again, this wealthy person got attached to this young beautiful girl and said, "Okay, I want to enjoy with you. I want to marry you." And then the girl said, "Okay, can you please come after 4 weeks?" Okay, I'll come after 4 weeks. And in the meantime, in the 4 weeks, this girl takes a lot of purgatives, laxatives, and then as a result, she loses all the weight. Now she gets a lot of stool, urine, vomiting, all the dirty stuff. His body is basically a bag of all this pus, mucus, blood, urine, stool. If we just take off like a 1 millimeter of covering outside, will we, you know, in science books or medical books, we may have seen like biology books. One will not get attached to if we just scrape off like with the peelers, peel off 1 millimeter of skin. Will one get attached to this, body filled with blood, filled with mucus, stool, all these chemicals? Certainly not. But so all this is deliberation. Only conscious people will think. But one who is blinded by lust, that person will not think. So finally, she stored all these things, ingredients in the pots, vomiting pot, stool pot, mucus pot, etc. And then this person comes. Hey, I want to marry you. Where is that beauty? And this person, now this person looked like a very, very old and ugly, very thin and lean. And this person said, "Can you please call your, master or mistress? I've come to marry her." Well, this girl said, who was looking like a servant, "Well, I am that person who said to you that, you know, so I'm the same lady, in short. So you want to marry me?" He said, "Well, you're the same lady, but you looked so beautiful 4 weeks back. Now you look like a rotten tomato." Just putting some words there. So, okay, then the girl said, "Well, you wanted to see where my beauty is gone? Come, I'll show you my beauty." So then she showed all the pots. One pot full of stool, full of urine, full of mucus, full of vomiting, and said, "No, no, no, I don't want to get married to this. In fact, this body is just like that." So the relationships which are based on the external body don't last longer. And therefore, that's one of the biggest reasons in Kali Yuga, a lot of relationship problems are happening. Because until, the body, no matter even if it's Miss World or Miss Universe, after a few years, the wrinkles will come. The body will not look the same. So if the relationship is based on just the external body, that relationship will also not last for long. So all this is deliberation. Intelligent people think like this. Intelligent people think through the medium of scriptures. And then when we'll feel, well, why I'm so attached to this body of my wife or of my husband or of any actor or actress who may look beautiful. Why don't I get attached to Krishna, who is Nitya Yavanam, who is Nava Yavan, who's always beautiful? So One who intelligently thinks through the medium of Guru Sadhu Shastra will eventually be able to take to the Krishna and his beauty. And then one who has tasted his beauty, then material beauty cannot do anything to that person. Hare Krishna. Any other comments, questions? Yes, Kashish Mataji.
Ruchi, here I want to share my own personal experience. When I lost my parents, I was in deep, deep pain. I'm still in that pain. I'm not able to come over it yet. But after taking the shelter of Bhagavatam, I realized that, life is not something which we are always thinking that everything will be in our life forever. It's what we call it Chanbangul. And it's just the souls that they are existing ever. And honestly, what peace we are getting in serving Krishna, it's eternal. Because that no one can take away from your spirit. No one can take it away from your Atma. That will be with you. All other your near ones, dear ones may leave you at certain point, but Krishna will never leave you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your realizations. That's true. That's so true. And you are experiencing, and that our prayers are with you, Mother. Any other comments, questions anyone has before we move on to the next verse? Text 14. Yes, Vipul Prabhu, you want to read? See, that's the advantage of, like turning on the camera so I can see, who is in a position to read, and are you driving or like eating? So I will not ask you to read if you're eating. Even if you're eating, turn on your camera. That's fine. Yes, true.
Arjun Prabhu is Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Text 14. Siddhar Yagna Vasistar Thai Vasistar Thai Kalpayat Vrittim Atmana Sheshe Satvam Tejan Pragna Padabhim Mahattam Yat. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: an intelligent person should be satisfied with eating prasad, food offered to the Lord, or with performing the 5 different kinds of yagna, pancho, shuna. By such activities, one can give up attachment for the body and so-called proprietorship with reference to the body. When one is able to do this, he is firmly fixed in the position of a Mahatma. Purport: nature already has an arrangement to feed us. By the order of the Supreme Person of Godhead, there is an arrangement for eatables for every living entity within the 8.4 million forms of life. Eko bahunam yo vidhati kaman. Every living entity has to eat something. And in fact, the necessities for his life have already been provided by the Supreme Person of Godhead. The Lord has provided food for both the elephant and the ant. All living beings are living at the cost of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, one who is intelligent should not work very hard for material comforts. Rather, one should save his energy for advancing in Krishna consciousness. All created things in the sky, in the air, on land, and the sea belong to the Supreme Personal Godhead. And every living being is provided with food. Therefore, one should not be very much anxious about economic development and unnecessarily waste time and energy with the risks of falling down in the cycle of birth and death. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So, the meaning of this verse actually discussed again and again. Like in the evening, I was discussing with Shujaya that what about our grandfather's life? They used to do work, their children used to go to the school, come over, and at the end of the day, they used to read Bhagavatam Gita, discussed with their villagers, peoples. So life was so simple, but unnecessarily we complicated our lives. That my son has to learn this music, that soccer, that Bhagavad, this, and has to go to the school, has to give more effort for the education, has to be a CEO, doctor, engineer, or IT. So we're making life complex, their life complex, our life complex. And we have no time to practice spiritual activities and Bhagavatam. But here Prabhupada clearly says that in this small life, we need some prasad and to stay under a shelter and do the Krishna bhajan and spiritual progress. But so much civilization, like so-called civilization, actually, this is not civilization, this is uncivilization, taking us away day by day from our spiritual goal. But if we follow Prabhupada's and go back to the simple living and high thinking, life will be simple and our spiritual progress will be faster. Back to Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So, in the ideal family life, that's the topic, one should take Krishna Prasad. It's very, very important. One should take Krishna Prasad because Prasadam will, when we speak this verse, the prayers, Sharira Avidya Jal, Jadendriya Tahika, Jive File Vishesagre Tar. This is very, very strong network. Jal is net. It's so strongly attached to our body. It's very, very difficult to overcome. But this prasadam helps. The remnants of food which are offered to Krishna, they help to uproot the material attachment to the body. That's what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here. And since today is the passing away of Srila Haridas Thakur, Haridas Thakur, I want to read a section. So Haridas Thakur, again, it's a long story, but he said that I want to take birth, allow me a birth. Later, when Lord Chaitanya asked, what do you want, Haridas Thakur? After repeated requests, Haridas Thakur said, okay, allow me to take birth in every lifetime so that I can get remnants of food from the Vaishnavas, from the plates of your devotees. That's all I want. Let me take birth as a dog or as an insect near the house of a devotee. So after they have eaten the prasadam, and when they are done with the eating, I can get some remnants. So you can imagine the consciousness of Haridas Thakur. Why would he ask such a thing? Because of the potency. It may seem to be an ordinary, but basically it's like magic. Prabhupada called the prasadam as magic bullet. And that's what happened. Initially, people were not attached to anything. They were attached to the magic bullets. And by it's like it's like an expert doctor gives a medicine in the form of a sweet. It's sugar-coated medicine. So an expert spiritual master, Lord Krishna, has given us this prasadam, which is very, very appealing to us. For most devotees, everyone likes prasadam. There is absolutely no doubt in there. Everyone loves prasadam. But if it is offered in the right consciousness, prepared in the right consciousness, it's not only palatable to the tongue, it's palatable to the soul, and then the attachment to matter reduces, and to spirit, that's Krishna, increases. So ideal family means Krishna Prasadam. Prasadam has very, very important role in our Krishna consciousness. And as we have discussed before, people who are even not kind of favorable to bhakti or favorable to devotion, we can give them Krishna Prasadam. It is like a transcendental medicine. They may not know what's going on. They may not accept Bhagavad Gita class. They may not accept a book. They may not accept coming for a program. They may not accept, any direct spiritual activity. Oh, but I have brought some rasgulla for you. Oh, rasgulla. Yeah, that's my favorite. Please give me rasgulla. So then it goes, the magic bullets goes and the magic happens. Any comments, questions? Distributing prasadam in Kali Yuga is like distributing gold. Especially Grihasthas must take it seriously. And it doesn't take a lot. In that way, the whole family is engaged. Every day we should distribute to our neighbors, friends, colleagues, well-wishers, our kids' friends. We should be, and I see this, Prabhu is not here today, but I see this in him. He loves to distribute prasad. He loves that because that gives so much satisfaction, and by that, so much preaching happens. And it is the real dharma of Grihastha to distribute prasadam. Because in this day, who can distribute gold? Maybe one or two people. But that, even if they have that much, they'll not distribute because it's not easy. To have such a big heart is not easy. But yes, distributing prasadam is like distributing gold. It's even much, million times more than gold, because gold will take care of the bodily needs, but prasadam will take care of the body and the spiritual needs as well. Yes, any other comments, questions anyone has?
Prabhuji, in translation, they have mentioned 5 kinds of yagyas. Can you kindly elaborate them?
5 kinds of yagyas. I think we read somewhere. Just recently we read this topic, 5 kinds of yagya. Oh, it's not coming to my mind, but if anyone recalls, we recently read this topic. I'll have to search. If anyone knows, can please share. This came up a couple of chapters back, I believe. I'll share maybe in the next class.
Ji, Prabhuji.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, so let's meditate upon Shri Haridas Thakur, who was praying to be a dog. Of course, he was such a great soul, but that's the consciousness. They never think themselves as great. So today is just the disappearance day. So thank you so much to all the Vaishnavas for regularly joining. We'll continue tomorrow with the next verse, text number 15, sorry. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samavit Gaura Bhaktavind ki jai. Thank you so much.
The 5 yagyas, just got it. It's Bhuta Yagya, Manushya Yagya, Pitra Yagya, Deva Yagya, and Brahma Yagya.
Okay, so elaborate that for Mataji. How will she understand?
So Bhuta Yagya, sacrifice to living beings. Manushya Yagya, sacrifice to follow, so for human beings. So Bhuta Yagya is animals, birds, etc. Manushya Yagya is for living humans. Pitra Yagya is for ancestors. Deva Yagya is for demigods or supreme, and Brahma Yagya, so Supreme Personality of Godhead.
The essences in Kali Yuga, let's focus on Sankirtan Yagya as the Yagya for this age. Yagyanam or Yagyanam Japa Yagyasmi, Bhagavad Gita Krishna says. And Lord Chaitanya, Yagye Sankirtana Praye, Rijantihi Sunnitasam. So all these other sacrifices, and therefore, in ISKCON, we don't do big, Yagya and this and that. The main Yagya is chanting. Does that help?
I understood. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.